2 years ago, when I entered the faculty, I got great grades. My average was near 10, and I could advance in many subjects because I did the placement test. Nevertheless, I could not get a good schedule for the second period due to high school average taken into account in order to sign enrollment days for the second period. Thus, my enrollment date took place in the penultimate day. Therefore, I got a terrible schedule. I had to come to classes in the morning and in the evening. So I didn't have enough time for eating what I needed each day and for doing all my homeworks, neither for studying for all my exams. High school average should not be taken into account because, firstly, it is an illogical procedure since high school and major subjects are not closely related. High school contains subjects such as biology, mathematics, and physics, which are taken into account in this procedure to select subjects from English language teaching. Then, high school average should not be taken into account because it takes into account the student's effort in high school, which was already taken into account in the entrance exam. After that, we already have another average, which is the first period average. Besides, this is an unfair process because we know that each student, almost every student in the faculty, comes from a different high school and even from different states. So we know that each high school has its own level and different conditions. I mean, it is not the same as studying in a rural high school. We don't know whether the teacher arrived every day to give their students classes or whether the students from there had all their courses. Than studying in an urban high school. We don't know if students got their grades fairly, whether they had to pay certain amount of money to obtain certain grade or certain average. Then, first period average is already registered in university database before these enrollment days. So, there is no reason why taking into account this average will delay enrollment days, since it is already registered weeks before. In addition, taking into account high school average for the second period affects good students in the first period who have a bad average in high school, because they may have a terrible schedule. They may go to university in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. So when are they gonna have time for eating properly each day, for doing all their homeworks, and for studying for all their exams? On the other hand, bad students in the first period who got a good average in high school, most of them do not take advantage of this situation because most of them who fail in some of their courses in the first period still fail in some of their courses in the second period. So, high school average should not be taken into account in order to assign enrollment dates for the second period. Instead of that, the first period average should be taken into account because it will motivate good students to keep their average high, because they'll know that it will help them to obtain the best schedules in each period. On the other hand, bad students will be aware that they need a better average and better grades in order to obtain a better schedule. Therefore, taking into account the first period average will lead the students' average in general. So, as far as we have seen, taking into account first period average instead of high school average in order to obtain the second period schedule, it is a logical process because it takes into account the effort of students in every single day in the first period, and it also takes into account their effort in subjects which are closely related that will help them understand deeper the subjects that they are going to take in the second period. And finally, it takes into account not an average that is useful to obtain a better schedule in the second period, as it is the high school period average now, but it is an average that is useful to them for obtaining a better skill in every single period during their entire career major.